Hello, noble ones, and welcome to Metatron's Academy. So, here is a question for you. What are the 5 most powerful languages in history? And already I have a question about the question, to be honest. This is from the channel Learn Language Show, and the video is extremely successful. In 2 months, accrued 416,000 views. We got polyglot in the hashtags, and you know me, I hate polyglots, but I myself use that hashtag sometimes. So then again, we're not gonna judge a book from its cover. One thing though is I would like her to define, as she says here on her little name tag, what powerful means in the context of languages. Are we talking about the way they sound, if they sound like authoritative? If that's the case, Latin better be number 1, because otherwise I'm going to flip the table or invade Britannia. The other thing is powerful, in what sense? Like the extent to which they are spoken. So like a lingua franca would be the most powerful, and a small relegated dialect that is almost dying will be the least powerful. Is that the metric? Well, we'll see. Let's check it out. Link in the description.
What's the most powerful language? What's the most powerful language in human history? If you said English, you're thinking too recent. If you said Mandarin, you're thinking too narrow. If you said Latin, you're close. Really close.
Hold on a minute.
But you're still wrong.
Huh.
Because here's the thing. Mandarin has more native speakers than any language on Earth. Over 900 million. But it barely influenced any other language.
Oh, right. So cultural influence, perhaps? That's the metric?
English is spoken in more countries than any language in history, but it's only been dominant for about 200 years. Latin built 5 major languages from scratch, but it never once became the language of the world's most advanced civilization. So what actually makes a language powerful?
Finally, because to be honest, up to now, it sounds extremely arbitrary. But so I will see.
Not just spoken by a lot of people. Powerful. I'm talking about languages that rewired how other languages work. Languages that spread ideas so influential that the words themselves got absorbed into foreign tongues. Languages that shaped law, science, religion, trade, and thought across continents and centuries.
I wonder if she's going to go with ancient Greek then.
Welcome to the Learn Language Show.
Thank you. I don't know what happened there.
I've tried to rank the most powerful languages in history on 5 measurable factors.
Right.
Number of other languages permanently influenced, geographic spread at peak, duration of dominance, cultural and intellectual legacy, and number of speakers over time. And this list, some of it will make you mad.
Okay.
And the number 1 pick might genuinely shock you.
Oh gosh, that is that is so clickbaity manipulative, that one, but hey, I get it. Hate the game, not the player. Am I right?
And by the way, if by the end of this video you actually want to learn one of these powerful languages, then I want to tell you that the Learn app teaches several of them.
Yeah.
It's contextual, practical, and it tests you, so you actually retain what you learn. But don't take my word for it.
No.
Here's what people who use it are actually saying. Download Learn, try it for yourself. Links in the description. Spanish might be the most underrated powerful language on this list.
Is it?
I've put it at number 5. It's currently the 4th most spoken language on Earth, with over 500 million native speakers across 21 countries. But its power isn't just about today. It's about the last 500 years. When the Spanish Empire was at its height in the 16th and 17th centuries, it was the largest empire in the world at that time. Spanish became the dominant language across nearly all of Central and South America.
I'm very curious to see how she's going to compare that to the British Empire, because to be fair, I mean, the British Empire was enormous.
The Caribbean, parts of Africa, and the Philippines. In many of these places, indigenous languages were suppressed or replaced entirely. And Spanish's influence on other languages is significant. Tagalog, the base of Filipino, contains thousands of Spanish loanwords.
I actually noticed that whenever I hear Tagalog spoken, it of course sounds Asian, Southeast Asian, whatever. But then at times I'll hear a word and I'm like, that sounded like Spanish. I do recall that.
Estimates range from 20 to 33% of the vocabulary. Wow. English itself has absorbed hundreds of Spanish words. Tornado, mosquito, canyon, plaza,
Burrito,
rodeo, cargo. Spanish is also one of only 6 official languages of the United Nations. And demographically, it's growing. The United States is projected to have more Spanish speakers than Spain within this decade.
Goodness gracious, that's insane.
But Spanish, despite its enormous reach, was primarily a language of colonization and daily speech.
Right.
It wasn't the dominant language of science, philosophy, or diplomacy. And that's what separates it from the top four.
Number 4, let's go.
If you made this list 200 years ago, French might be at number 1. But on my list, it's at number 4. From the 17th to the early 20th century, French was the language of international diplomacy, law, science, philosophy, and culture. It was the language of the European courts. Catherine the Great of Russia spoke French. Frederick the Great of Prussia wrote his works in French, not German. The Treaty of Westphalia, which shaped modern Europe, was conducted in French. The Power Language Index, published by the World Economic Forum, still ranks French as the 3rd most powerful language in the world today.
Yeah, again, I'd like to... So, I get it. So, a powerful language, I mean in connection to political and cultural power. So, military as well. Which, cool, I can appreciate that. I'm interested to see where Latin is going to go, though, because, I mean, the Roman Empire, and again, English...
largely because of its diplomatic prestige and its presence across 5 continents. It's an official language in 29 countries.
Right.
French also punches above its weight in vocabulary influence. English absorbed roughly 28% of its total vocabulary from French, and Norman French,
I was gonna
the
say.
largest single foreign influence on the English language. Just look at these English words that are basically French. And through colonialism, French became the dominant administrative and educational language across much of West and Central Africa,
yeah.
where it's still growing. But French is...
Yeah, a lot of Africans speak. I mean, I've used French as a common language with Africans a lot. Has happened to me both when I was living in England, of course, when I was living in Sicily. It kind of depends on where they're from. Sometimes they speak Portuguese. I have met some Africans that do speak Italian. It's a little less common, like in Ethiopia, for instance, and from Ethiopia. But then, yeah, Côte d'Ivoire and a lot of other places where they do speak French, and they speak it quite well. And I've used it because I do speak it somewhat. I mean, I'd say the people that I spoke to or spoke it better than me, but we used it for communication right instead of English, which is interesting. It kind of opens it makes it feel like an alternate reality, because normally we're used of English being the language, the common language between separate cultures up to an extent, and I hope she's going to bring this up, that it's mind-blowing, because personally when I was living in Japan, I have seen a Korean, a Chinese, and a Japanese communicate in English, which is the weirdest thing on the planet. It doesn't happen so often in Asia, but it did happen to me, possibly because it was a traveling hostel. But yeah, I've seen that, and you're like, that is insane. Why are they not using Japanese? We're in Japan. Why are they not using Chinese as a major language? They're using a Western language. It's insane. Now, again, very rare occurrence. Usually, if you're in Japan, they will use Japanese. But then again,
fading as a global lingua franca.
Right.
Its diplomatic dominance is largely historical now.
Yeah.
And unlike some languages higher on this list, French didn't create entire new language families. It influenced powerfully, but it didn't fundamentally reshape the languages it touched. At number 3 is Arabic. Arabic didn't just spread across 25 countries. It rewrote the vocabulary of half the world.
Okay, but now that you used, because I am going to be pedantic about this, but it has to be done for equality. You used through colonization of Africa, through colonization for French, through colonization from Spanish. Why are you not using colonization with Arabic? Is she going to use it? Because nobody ever does. But it's so interesting because Islam was spread by the sword. Lots of countries that today speak Arabic. It wasn't through, hey, would you like to learn Arabic? Yes, please, thank you. It was done through military conquest and might, just like with European powers. Yet, and there was slavery involved, there was absolutely suppression involved, there was forced conversion, or sometimes you got to pay me a tax if you're not Muslim, but you need to pay me a protection tax. So that stuff is historical and it's real. Interestingly enough, the word colonization is often connected only to European powers. Why? Why? Let's see. I might be wrong. Maybe I spoke too soon. I'll apologize. If
when
I did.
Islam expanded from the 7th century onward, Arabic came with it as the language of the Quran, of law, of science, and of trade. And during the Islamic Golden Age, from roughly the 8th to the 14th century, Arabic was the language of the world's most advanced civilization. While Europe was in the Dark Ages, Arabic-speaking scholars were inventing algebra, pioneering astronomy,
Come on now. You know, if you're doing languages, leave the history alone. I'm gonna say this. Dark Ages first is a misnomer. No serious academic uses it anymore. It's only viable in fantasy. If you're doing fantasy, absolutely use it because it's epic. Oh, the Dark Ages. The reality is that throughout the Dark Ages, there was a lot of progress, both in science, architecture, literature, in Europe as well. So this is false. It is true that Islam in the Middle Ages, yeah, they were very advanced when it comes to learning, medicine, academic studies, totally. But Europe wasn't like, oh, a bunch of cavemen. Oh, the Dark Ages, no shit, no one could read. It's not, absolutely not. They were very learned people. We built incredible castles, buildings, cathedrals, art, music. I mean, this is insane. What are you doing? And as you see, no colonization, it's expansion. It's expansion, but golden era, but no colonization. Okay, she's losing me.
Advancing medicine and preserving Greek philosophy that would have been lost otherwise. And here's what that did to other languages. Spanish has over 4,000 words of Arabic origin, nearly 8% of its vocabulary.
Yeah, why is that? And how does that connect to the word reconquista? How did that happen? Because you did mention colonization, did you? Yeah, I'm going to be annoying on this one because I'm annoyed by double standards.
Portuguese, Sicilian, and other Mediterranean languages are packed with Arabic.
I wouldn't say packed. Sicilian, I'm a Sicilian speaker. Okay, there is some Arabic, words of Arabic origins, but it's not packed. Sicilian is absolutely a child of Latin with strong Greek influence, with Spanish and French influence, Norman French specifically, with some Arabic vocabulary, depending on which area of Sicilian. Thank you.
Persian, Turkish, Urdu, Malay, Swahili, Hausa, all of them absorbed enormous quantities of Arabic vocabulary. Even English has more Arabic than most people realize. Algebra, algorithm, alcohol, zero, cotton, magazine, admiral, tariff.
That's
Arabic also gave Europe its number system. You use Arabic numbers, 1, 2, 3, every single day. Before Arabic mathematics reached Europe, they were using Roman numerals. Try doing long division with Roman numerals. Seriously, try it. But Arabic's power came with its limitation. Its spread was tied closely to religion. In regions where Islam didn't take hold, Arabic's influence was minimal. And modern Standard Arabic, while understood across the Arab world, is essentially a formal written language. Nobody speaks it as their daily native tongue. The spoken dialects vary so much that a Moroccan and an Iraqi might genuinely struggle to understand each other. Still, a language that gave the world its numbers, named its stars, and built the vocabulary of science across 2 continents.
Named its stars? What a curious thing to say.
That's power. At number 2, I have
You didn't say it. I told you. I knew it. English. Let's go.
English. And I know what some of you are thinking. English would be number 1. I get it. English is, by almost every modern metric, the most dominant language on the planet. It's the first truly global lingua franca in human history. Around 1.5 billion people speak it. But here's the critical number. Only about 400 million of those are native speakers. Over 1 billion people learned English as a second language. No language in history has ever achieved that ratio.
True.
The Power Language Index ranks English as the most powerful language in the world today. And it's not close. English dominates the internet.
But she disagrees, so we'll have to see what number 1 is for her. I'm curious, actually.
Over 60% of all web content is in English. It's the language of international aviation, science, business, entertainment, and diplomacy.
Science also has Latin.
And its vocabulary reach is enormous. English loanwords have entered virtually every language on Earth. Japanese has thousands of English loanwords. So does Korean. So does Hindi, Arabic, French, even Icelandic, one of the most linguistically conservative languages on the planet. French might be at 3. Not yet. Now here are thousands of English loanwords. So why isn't linguistically conservative languages on the planet has been absorbing English words? So why isn't English number 1? Because power isn't just about the present, it's about time. English has been globally dominant for roughly 200 years.
200 years? Okay, look, if you're using the length, number 1 has to be Latin. I know I said I was going to flip the table, and I am going to flip the table. Because, I mean, 1,000 years? I mean, what are we on about?
Since the British Empire's peak.
Yeah.
Compare that to the language in the number 1 spot, which dominated over 2,000 years and is still shaping languages today.
Bro.
English might be the most powerful language alive, but it's not the most powerful language in history. Not yet. Now here's the number 1 language on the list.
Come on. So I guessed it at the beginning. You lied. You said, and you might be close if you said Latin. Of course I'm going to say Latin. What are we on about? Come on.
Latin. Latin didn't just influence other languages. It became other languages. Spanish, Portuguese, French, Italian, Romanian. These aren't just languages that borrowed from Latin. They are Latin. They are what Latin turned into over 2,000 years of evolution.
Debatable, but okay.
No other language in history has done this. No other language has split into 5 major world languages that are spoken today by over 900 million native speakers combined. But Latin's power goes far beyond the Romance family.
Finally, a part that I can agree on. I appreciate this section.
English vocabulary is roughly 59% Romance in origin, meaning it traces back to Latin, mostly through French. German is about 20%. Dutch is about 14%. Even languages with zero genetic connection to Latin, Polish, Hungarian, Finnish, are loaded with Latin-derived vocabulary from centuries of Catholic Church influence.
Yeah.
And then there's the...
Okay, hold on a minute. Influence and influence. Shouldn't it be a distinction between the verb and the noun? Because she pronounces both the same way. Let me know. I'm not the native here.
Intellectual infrastructure. Latin was a language of science until the 18th century. Newton wrote his Principia in Latin. It was a language of law, habeas corpus, pro bono, de facto. It was a language of medicine. Every diagnosis your doctor has ever given you is in Latin or Greek. It was the language of the Catholic Church for nearly 2,000 years.
Still is the official language of the Holy See.
Shaping the spiritual vocabulary of billions. Latin dominated Europe for over 2 millennia. It was the mother of 5 global languages. It contributed more vocabulary to more non-related languages than any language recorded in history. And it's still being used in law, science, medicine, and taxonomy. Right now, today, as you're watching this. No language has ever had that combination of depth, breadth, and duration. Latin is the most powerful language in human history.
Agreed.
I'll link the video we did on why Latin spread everywhere without surviving anywhere if you'd like to learn more. Now, I already know that this list is going to start some arguments. Some of you are
No, not really. Latin is number 1. Cool with me.
going to say Greek should have made the cut. And honestly, you have a case.
Yeah.
My next video is about how the world
I would remove Arabic and put Greek.
speaks Greek without knowing it. Others might argue for Sanskrit. But here's what I think matters most. Every single language on this list earned its place not because of armies, though armies helped, but because of ideas.
Oh, come on. Shut up. It was because of armies, not because of ideas. Ideas without the sword and wouldn't have spread this way, particularly with Islam and European colonial powers. Oh, for crying out loud. Oh, yeah, it's ideas. Now you made it sound nice. How about true, though? Does that matter? Anyways, Latin won, so I don't even care. GG for Latin. Thank you for watching.